from this introduction? Yeah, thank you. I think we need... Nikhil, can you get the group there to keep quiet? Okay, I guess the artists today are going to kind of give a lecture demo on Carnatic music. We thought this would be appropriate for this audience because if you just played the music and didn't appreciate it or didn't understand it, that would not be something which we would want you to take away. Many of us have heard the music, but even I don't know the basics, so I really look forward to the lecture. But let me give it to Raghavan with one note, which I think we had a lot of IIT alumni, as you all saw in the participation in the event. Raghavan is also an IIT alumni. He, I think, is a mechanical engineer? Electrical engineer, but decided to move to more music and might be blend electrical with music. Okay, so over to you, Raghavan.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone. It's lovely to be here. It's lovely to be part of anything that has to do with my alma mater, IIT Madras. Yeah, I did continue with engineering, and since many of you are academics, and something that used to come up often in our IIT Madras lectures is, oh, you guys, you're going to not really pursue engineering, you're going to sell soaps one day, you're going to the IIMs and the management schools. I did not do any such thing for a good 15 years before I said, okay, what is management school all about? And did that usual foray into management, only to realize that it is strictly not for me, business studies. Sometimes it takes a whole degree to realize that. And then after some more meandering, I decided it is going to be music. So the second half of my career or passion project for the remainder of my life is music. I've still been keeping in touch with IIT Madras, proud to say. I have taught a couple of semesters there in the engineering design department, lecturing about the connections between music in general and engineering design. So that's where that's how I keep my engineering, I guess, instinct going. It does really help with teaching music. This back and forth, this constant thinking of the left and right sides of everything. Of course, art is always right. There's nothing that you can say that art does not encompass. Art goes beyond even rationality, beyond the confines of our physical universe, because art is ethereal. And Indian art, the tradition extends a very, very long time into the past. And we have continuity in practice, continuity in language, custom, tradition, religion. So it is a very active field of study even today. And in many ways, it is, some tenets have been preserved without too much change over the millennia. So it is a fascinating study for anybody. But since you are in South India, it is doubly fascinating so that you understand who it is you're hanging with. Who are these South Indians and what is even their maybe idiosyncrasies. Sometimes art helps us understand, because in the music is a broad term inside of which is a lot of other things, from language to acoustics to emotion, especially, and it does help me understand myself better and the community now. I'm based in Chennai. But since I spent a lot of time abroad, especially in the United States as a semiconductor engineer, this music also helped me communicate with musicians of other genres, not only other Indian genres, which the Indian diaspora includes. Suddenly, you are exposed to the Hindustani style, the North Indian, the West Indian, and so on, but also jazz and classical music, which I developed a lot of interest and even a little bit of a working knowledge over my time in the United States. So I now come a full circle in my engagement with art. I consider myself a Carnatic musician first and foremost, a vocalist. I also play some instruments, so I'll play a little bit of one of the instruments I played today towards the end of the set. I want to also introduce my fellow artists, but before that, my humble pranams, namaskarams, my thanks to my great gurus, my great teachers, who were extremely kind in transmitting this art and making me part of a very long and thriving tradition that is Carnatic music or South Indian classical music. Today I'll be accompanied by Sri Krishnan on Ghatam. Sri Krishna is we chose the Ghatam today. He plays several other instruments himself. We chose the Ghatam because it's unique in the sense of a classical instrument with very obvious folk roots. It doubles up even today in the villages of India as a folk instrument, and but also occupies a pride of place in the classical firmament. So the Ghatam, Sri Krishna's guru, Bhikkhu Vinayak Ram, is one of the greatest Ghatam exponents that India has produced. He's a multiple Grammy Award winner, and I'm really proud to have him represent his guru here and his guru's instrument. And on the tanpura, and also vocal support for me from time to time, is my young student, Rishikeshan. Rishikeshan is, you can't see him probably from the back. He's small. The tambura is evidently much bigger than him. Rishikeshan has a background in the veena, which is it's a large string instrument, the South Indian lute, and it's an ancient instrument. It has references going back all the way to the Vedas. One of the most hoary instruments associated with the gods. The tanpura looks similar in construction. This is the drone that he'll be playing today. And the drone is the sort of the home, basically. It is the graha or the home of our music. So the tanpura is absolutely crucial to any classical concert. It sets the mood. So Rishikeshan play the tanpura. Go ahead. So he'll be doing this almost throughout the concert. He'll be, except for the time when he'll be singing. One second, let me adjust. We will start with a prayer. Sariga madhani sani dhamagari garidani sa. நாதம் பிறந்தது சத்குருநாதம் பிறந்தது டமருகநாதம் பிறந்தது டமருகநாதம் பிறந்தது சிவானந்த நாதரசையவே நாட்டிசை தோறும் நாதம் பிறந்தது சிவானந்த நாதன் அசையவே நாட்டிசை தோறும் சுநாதம் பிறந்தது புராணங்கள் கூறும் வேதசாஸ்திர புராணங்கள் கூறும் வேதசாஸ்திர புராணங்கள் கூறும் வேதமில்லா அருளாளனி முருகநாதம் பிறந்தது வேதசாஸ்திர புராணங்கள் கூறும் வேதமில்லா அருளாளனி முருகநாதம் பிறந்தது போர் முரசு தாம் தித்தாமென அதிரமேருவனிருத்தி போர் முரசு தாம் தித்தாமென அதிரமேருவனிருத்தி வில்லாய் வளைத்து போர் முரசு தாம் தித்தாமென அதிரமேருவனிருத்தி வில்லாய் வளைத்து தாரையில் இருந்தொரு கம்பெடுத்து கேதார மூப்புறம் தலையடிக்க தாரையில் இருந்தொரு கம்பெடுத்து கேதாரர் மூப்புறம் தலையடிக்க நந்தீசனிசைக்க மூலகம் ரசிக்க பக்த ஜனம் கழிக்க ராகமணி துதிகரமருகநாதம் பிறந்தது போர் முரசு தந்தித்தாமே அதிரமேருவனிருத்தி வில்லாய் வளைத்து தாரையில் இருந்தொரு கம்பெடுத்து கேதாரர் மூப்புறம் தலையடிக்க நந்தீசனிசைக்க மூலகம் ரசிக்க பக்த ஜனம் கழிக்க ராகமணி துதிகரமருகநாதம் சிவானந்த நாதன செய்யவே நாதிசை தோறும் சுநாதம் சுநாதம் சரி கமந்தனி சரி கமகரி சனி ரமகரி சுநாதம் பிறந்தது கரி மகரி ச நித சனி ரம கரி மகரி ச கரி சனிதனி நித நித மக மக கரி சநாதம் பிறந்தது நிக மக மரிக சரி சதனி சரி கரி 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 சனிதனி சதனி சரி சரி கமரிக மலகம தனி மதனி நத நிசரி கமகரி மகரி சனி ரம மகரி சுநாதம் பிறந்தது டமருகநாதம் சத்குருநாதம் பிறந்தது Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. That was the prayer, and the prayer is about Nadam. As you might have noticed, the word Nadam keeps appearing. Nadam, Sunadam, various forms of Nadam. Nadam just means the sound. And in Indian cosmology, it has a special place because we believe that Nadam is the beginning of the universe, like, well, to use a very commonly used analogy, the Big Bang. But of course, this is a religious belief. We really didn't, I don't think, have any astronomical insight, but intuition suggested that everything started with sound. And to carry the intuition forward, we have the practice of music that came out of the basic idea, Nadam Tirandadu, and thus music was born. There are many origin stories. This is one. This was a story that I wrote. This song was mine. And Koshi, nobody can come after us because this is my copyright. This is what I was telling you. Songwriting in Carnatic music is as a phenomenon, it is like in any classical music, contributing new material to a really old and hoary tradition is a big challenge because that's a lot of scrutiny. And before a song can be accepted as all right, it has to go through a lot of rigor. I supplement my rigor through simply teaching the songs to my students. And so they are my beta users, beta testers. And when I have a forum like this, I basically present it. And if I don't get any brickbats back, then I'm doing okay. So the song described the birth of Nadam, and this story talks about Shiva, who's one of the trinity of great gods, old gods, in Indian mythology, with his damaru. The damaru is a little drum that he holds in his hand and makes a sound. And from that sound emanates all the cosmos itself. And specifically, there are deep studies on how that might have sounded, and the roots tracing back to Sanskrit alphabet come from the sounds of this damaru of Shiva. So I describe that in the song. The old texts have their sort of origin stories. The best ones, of course, combine this sort of myth and mythology, along with some insight into biology, how this nadam is actually produced by the human body and by the instruments that accompany a performance. So I wanted to quote a couple of verses from Sangita Ratnakara, which is in an old book, a medieval book, 13th century. And one verse says, Samavedaditam Geetam Samjagraha Pitamaha. That means the grandsire, Brahma, distilled music from the Samaveda. So this gives you an idea of perhaps music originated from the Samaveda, which is one of the old Vedas that have survived to this day. That's one origin story. Sangita Ratnakara, the same book, also proposes the origin of music from the human body. And here the verse starts with Brahma Granthisthita Sotha Krama Durdva Pathe Charam. What it says is that as the breath travels, Nabhi Hrid Kantha Murdhasyeshu Avir Bhavayati Dhvanim. So the breath travels from the root center upwards through the navel, the heart, the throat, and the head. And this is a theory that all of us still practice assiduously when we learn to sing. We are asked to observe the origin of your voice from the navel, from the Muladhara, which is basically where you sit when you're seated cross-legged. And the sound travels upwards, it's imagined to travel upwards. Then comes resonating from your throat, does not stop with the mouth, but continues to resonate all the way to your head. So this entire upper body is in vibration when we sing. And this is proposed by the same author as another origin story. So this is the physics/biology of the origins of music. There is a third point of view, which is comparing musical origins in an instrument to musical origins in the voice. So I mentioned the veena at the start. There are many kinds of venas, and in this there is one, it is generally called daruvi, made of wood. And here the author says there are two repositories for music and musical notes. One is made of wood, the other is made of flesh. So the wood refers to everything, every lute there is, and specifically lutes in this particular phrase. And of course, the flesh is the human body. There is a parallel tradition, an origin story from the Tamil or South Indian tradition. This is a Chera prince. His name is Ilango Vadigal. And he wrote this great epic in the Sangam era. This is around the 3rd century. And he's in his epic called Silapadigaram, he gives some examples. Kaatrin manda visai podi narambin yaalnilai yatta viralon annum. So here he says music is in the air. Kaatri means air. So he ascribes the origins of music in the air that flows through the woods and through the bamboo. And while it flows through the bamboo, it affects, Narambu means veins, it affects the human body and the entire nervous system of the humans. And that is the origin of music. So in a way, he says the music is always there. If there's an observer, then it is apparent. So this is a very naturalistic, interesting way of looking, a different way of looking at the origin. And Silapadigaram goes on to say a lot more about the origins of music. But suffice to say, the tradition that we have followed all the way now, from the time of Ilango, from the time of Bharathamuni and Sarangadeva, retains many of these instruments that they discuss, the veena, the kural, which is the flute, the yard, which is a form of a zephyr. So these are all still in practice, some of them, and along with the ancient percussion instruments. The next stop in our introductory journey is how do we introduce each other to the music? So a big part of musical practice is also the transmission of the art. Everybody in this fraternity teaches. All Carnatic musicians, after they reach maturity, teach the music, not just because it supports their practice, but also because it is expected of them. It is a strong code in this community that you have to give back and you have to keep the tradition alive. And I'm lucky in that sense to have been blessed with aspirants, practitioners, such as Rishikesh here. So the next demonstration we have is going to take us through the very basic lessons of music. So it'll be in the beginning I sing and Rishikesh repeats, and then we converge and conclude with a song or a kriti, which is an advanced composition. So we're going to compress maybe 4 years of practice and transmission in about 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Let's see how that goes. Sari ga ma pa dha ni sa. Sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Sa re ga ma pa ga ma pa pa. Ga ma pa ga ma pa pa. Ga ma pa da ni da pa ma ga ma pa ga ma ga re sa. Ga ma pa da ni da pa ma ga ma pa ga ma ga re sa. Sa ni da ni da pa da pa ma pa pa. Sa ni da ni da pa ga pa ma pa pa. Ga ma pa da ni da pa ma ga pa da ni da pa ma ga ma pa ga ma ga re sa. Ga ma pa da ni da pa ma ga ma pa ga ma ga re sa. Sa sa ri ri ga ga ma ma pa pa dha dha ni sa sa. Ga ga ma ma pa pa dha dha ni sa sa. Sa sa ni ri da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re sa sa. Sa sa ni ni da da pa pa ma ma ga ga re sa sa. Ga ma pa ni sa 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 ga ni sa ri sa ni da pa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa ma ga re sa re ga ma re pa ma ga re ga ma pa ga da pa ma ga ma pa da ma ni da pa ma pa da ni pa sa ni da pa da ni sa da pa da sa ni da pa ni ma pa da ni da pa ma da ga ma pa da pa ma ga pa ri ga ma pa ma ga ri ma. Sa ni ga ma ga ri sa ri sa ri ga ma ga ri sa ri ga ma pa ma ga ri ga ma pa da pa ma ga ma pa da ni da pa ma pa da ni sa ni
da pa da ni sa sa ni da pa da ni sa ni da pa ma pa da ni da pa ma ga pa ma ga ma pa da pa ma ga pa ma ga ri ga ma pa ma ga ri ma ga ri sa ri ga ma ga ri
Shri Radhadi Guru
Guru Jayati Jayati Shri Radhadi 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 Guru Jayati Jayati Shri Chidanandana Tohamiti Santanam Radhadi Guru Jayati Chidanandana Tohamiti Santanam Radhadi Guru Jayati
For this exercise, we use a ragam traditionally called Maya Malava Gaula. And in Western classical music, this is called the double harmonic. Because there is a it's also called the gypsy scale. There are many. It's also called the gypsy scale. There are many other names to it. In the Hindustani tradition, it's called Bhairav. This raga is a morning raga, and traditionally, classes are early morning. Music, especially music lessons. I remember most of my childhood waking up at the crack of dawn and going to my music lesson. So this ragam, this sound, is very closely tied to the memory of sunrise. So this is how the collective knowledge of a raga for a time sort of evolves. This is a system that is more strictly followed in northern India, less in South India. But in terms of the basis for it, it is equally present in both traditions. So this was Maya Malava, the 7 notes. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. A raga with 7 notes is commonly referred to as Sampurna. Sampurna means good and complete. So these are good ragas, which means they are well-formed ragas. Are there bad ragas? Not really in a objective sense, but they are ill-formed from the strict grammar of what a raga should contain. So we have 72 such well-formed ragas. We call them Mela Karta ragas. Karta means one who does. In this context, they are also known as Janaka ragas. Janaka means father. It should really be called Matru ragas because mothers are the givers and the producers of the world. But this is a tradition, Janaka raga. They they allow for mathematical derivation of what we call Janya ragas. Ja means to be born. So they allow for Janya ragas, which can be very easily understood as mathematical combinations of those 7 notes. Some by omission, some by folding. So an example will be Sari Gama Pada Nisa. Sari ma pa da sa da pa ma ga di sa. So I skip a note when I go up and skip a note when I come down. And if I follow this strictly and pay attention to both the direction, it's a vector. So you have to see which way you're going to travel. And if you decide to change your mind and travel the other way, that's only up and down. Then you have to change what notes or combinations are allowed. This sort of navigating the structure of even a simple derived raga gives rise to certain doubt naturally in our minds. These doubts are smoothed over or resolved by a system in Carnatic music called gamakam. These gamakams are nothing but gama comes from the word gam gacha, to go. So it is notes in a journey. So you can say the note is traveling from here to there, and what happens to the note during the travel is a gamakam. So the re, although I sing it as re, it's traveling, it's in settling it. Ga. If you were to just play it on a keyboard, it would be tum, pum, pum. And that is not how Indian music is sung. The travel is always represented very consciously. And there are strict rules as to which raga allows what kind of gamakam. There are many types of gamakams. And in this specific example, I'm just talking about a note and its neighbor note. Neighbor above and a neighbor below. Sariga, mapaga, mari. Sariga, mapada, mapada, ni, da, pa, ma, maga, gari, maga, pa, mari. So the notes are restful in usually only 2 places. The tonic or the graha. Sa is a place where notes can rest. So it's a home note. Pa, the 5th, is another place of rest where the note doesn't have to travel. In almost all of the situations, the notes tend to have a certain path that they take. And there are, within those paths, there are saddle points. Those saddle points are referred to as a vadi of the raga, samvadi of the raga. These are all terms that means, vadi means friendly. And they tend to rest in some of these other notes other than the principal or the tonic and the 5th. And where they rest also tends to shape how they sound. I'll give you another example of Mayamala Vagala, this 7-note scale. Sari ma pa da ma da ti Turusuga Kripajuchi Santatam Aroha Grida Sharira Mura Salupunanu. This ragam is called Saveri. It has very distinct and different gamakams from the parent raga. Sari gama padani sa, sari ma padani. Very stylized. way of traveling the notes. And then I mentioned omission. One of the many kritis that the great composer Tyagaraja Swami has composed is on a derived raga from Maya Malabar called Jagan Mohini. So billu saptaswara, 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 sundarula bhajintave manasa, so billu saptaswara, sundarula bhajintave manasa, so billu saptaswara. Nabhi kritkaitarasana nasadura yanto sobillu saptaswara taraviksamadulallo varagayatri hridayanda surabhusura manasamuna shubha tyagaraja niyada sobillu saptaswara sundarula bhajintave manasa sobillu saptaswara. Saptaswara Sobillu. The 7 notes are shining. Saptaswara Sobillu. The 7 notes are shining. They're everywhere. They're shining. All you have to do is stop and appreciate. Sundarula Bhajimpave Manasa. Will you take a moment and appreciate the beauty that these 7 notes are? Says Tyagaraja. And interestingly, this raga does not have 7 notes. It's a gama pani sa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sani pa magari sa sani pa magari 6. 5 on the ascent and 6 on the descent. Not a 7-note raga, but he has composed a song asking you to appreciate ragas at 7 notes. As you all know, most musical systems the world over have 7 notes in them. So it's not unique to the Carnatic system or the Indian system. It is proof that we have always been a connected world. So this was about ragas and how derivative ragas work. Right? And then when we have studied a body of ragas, maybe 10 ragas, 20 ragas, however many. Sometimes people study a raga for a year, especially in the Hindustani, the Northern Indian tradition of Drupad, which is an ancient system very similar to Carnatic music, very many grammatical coincidences. They have the same root, books, even Sargadeva and so on. They have 6 months to a year of the guru teaching a raga to the student. The same 7 notes, the same intervals, just very, very slowly. Even the compositions are extremely slow and they proceed in pace over in a performance, a Drupad performance. A single composition of maybe 4 lines may last for an hour and a half as the raga unfolds. It's a very organic approach. It demands, it is extremely demanding of both the musician and the listener. For us to be able to appreciate a 1 hour exposition of a raga may take a few hours of preparation, a few, maybe hundreds of hours of preparation. There is some indoctrination, of course, because we have so many songs that says these notes are divine, these notes are beautiful. But it takes us some time to also agree, yeah, I think these notes are beautiful. Yeah, this is divine, this is cool. Yeah, I understand the gamaka. It takes time. Uh, uh, and over that time, we have new converts into the fold. Right. I have an hour with you, and I'm mindful of your time. Um, Give me a few more hours like this, and I will convert all of you into Karnatakasangitam aficionados. And Karnatakasangitam itself, like you might have noticed in my flyer, Karnataka is a state in South India. That is not what Karnatakasangitam is referring to. Carnatic is a geographical region in southern India. That is not it either, though it's commonly called Carnatic music. It is just a Sanskrit word which means Karna, Atha, Ka, Sangeetam. What pleases your ear is Karnataka Sangeetam. While I was a teenager, heavy metal was very pleasing to my ears, not to my parents. So that was my Karnataka Sangeetam for a period of my life, which were my rebellion years. So you can pick any music and see Karnataka Sangeetam in it. Specifically, of course, Southern Indian music that we are discussing now proceeds in a certain way. The ragas have evolved. Now we have 7 notes, 72 ragas, any number of derivative ragas that emerge from the woodworks, until the point the musician reaches a point called Manodharma Sangeetam. Manodharma. Manam means the mind. Dharma is the path, as many of you would know. This is the path of the mind. The mind knows what is right for itself. You have to ask the mind. Through the transmission and imbibing of Carnatic music, Karnataka Sangeetam, we teach the practitioners to trust themselves, to trust their minds, to walk the right path. So this is Manodharma, and it again takes time and discipline. There is Alapana, which is one of the foundational pillars of Manodharma. It is unaccompanied by rhythm. It takes a ragam and simply allows us to explore the colors of the raga without any rhythmic constraint. Example. That was a short alapana, very brief. Alapanas are known to go for many minutes, like tens of minutes, sometimes an hour, without any percussion accompaniment. They draw from many sources, and so it's semi-spontaneous. I'm drawing from compositions. I'm also drawing from other alapanas. I'm drawing from having sung with my guru and other gurus, having taught these ideas to my students. So my pool is deepening every day. My idea pool. after this arrhythmic syllabic, very simple syllables like the vowels, ta, ta, ra, na. These are syllables that have actual meaning and reference. The ta, ra, na comes from Narada in reverse order. Narada is the greatest musician. He's not a human musician. He's a god. We all trace our musical lineage to Narada. So maybe there was a Narada once upon a time, but he is lost in time. And so we think of him as a god. So such syllables are used. The next Manodharma segment is called Tanam. Here you will see another set of syllables used, Nom Tom. So sometimes it's called Nom Tom Alapana. Because of the use of syllables Nom and Tom, it's called Nom Tom Alapana. Because of the use of syllables Nom and Tom, we can extrapolate and say this is Anantam, it is Anandam, Anantam, names of Mahavishnu. So there is a reference to greatness beyond human reach in both types of alapana, both alapana and namtam alapana are tanam. Ainum tainum 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 ainum tainum 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 Aganum tadaganum tadaganum ainum 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 tadanum tanum tanum tadaganum tanum 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 tadanum 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 aganum tadaganum tanum tum tadanum aganum tadanum tadanum tanum tanum tadanum tanum tanum tadaganum tadanum aganum tadaganum tanum tadanum tanum ainum num num tadanum tanum num tadan ainum num tadaganum tadanum tadaganum tanum aganum tadanum tadanum This is usually followed by something called Pallavi. Pallavi is one line, one lyrical line, which is repeatedly handled. And Pada, Laya, Vinyasam makes for Pallavi, Pada, Laya, Vinyasam. It means we are going to take words, the rhythm, Laya, Vinyasa, which means exposition. Again, the Pallavi is a very lengthy affair. So instead of taking on a Pallavi and the full treatment, I'm going to just present a section or a segment from a well-known song. And this ragam is called Kalyani. For those who are familiar with Western classical music, the intervals are the same as any guess. Uh, any guesses as to what these intervals were? What it sounded like? It's called the Lydian mode. Not the most popular mode in Western music, but it comes and goes.
संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सरिगमपदनि सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सरिगमपदनि सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सानिधपमगरि सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सरिगमपदनि सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सरिगमपदनि सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सरिगमपदनि सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी सरिगमपदनि 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 सुस्वर संगीतमे वरसुखदायी 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 This was my Guruji's composition, Dr. Balamurali Krishna. He has also composed many songs on the efficacy and the primacy of music. Sangeetame Varasukhadayi. Sangeetam always gives sukham, varasukham, a divine sort of pleasure. Sarigama Padani, as we are all familiar with, the 7 notes. Suswara, beautiful notes. That was a Pallavi. So we have kind of traversed many aspects of Carnatic music. What we have probably not explored is short rhythmic aspects of Carnatic music, which are often used to support Bharatanatyam, which is the dance form.
commonly seen in southern India. Bharatanatyam again is referring to all of India. Bharat is the name of India. Natyam just means dance. So you could again argue that any dance from India is Bharatanatyam, but here it specifically means that dance which originates in the southern part of India. I'm going to present a short Tillana, which is often used by dancers because it has a lot of percussion elements and syllables. Nadirdim tananum num dadara dadara num tatare dillana nadirdim tanana 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 num dadara dadara num tatare dillana dadara num dadara Dim dim tarana tadarare nadir dim dim tarana tadarare nadir dim tarana tajam ta 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 tajam ta 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 tajam tajanu gama dimi tajanu gama dimi tajanu gama padimi tajanu gama tadari kitata kasari gama padani sani gama magari sani gama padani gama magari nadir dim tarana num num tarara tadarare num tarare dillana nadir dim tarana num ಮಂಜುಳ ಮೋಹನ ಮುರಳೀರವಳಿ ಮಂಜುಳ ಮೋಹನ ಮುರಳೀರವಳಿ ರಾಗವಲ್ಲರಿ ಮನೋರಂಜಿತ ರಾಗ ಶಬ್ದ ಸುಂದರಿ ನಿನಾದೇನ ಪುಲಕಾಂಗಿತ ತನುದಾರಿ ತದರದಾರೆ ತದರದಾರೆ Sanira Pamagari Sani Sarika Papadani Sanira Pamagari Sani Sarika Papadani Sarika Papadani Taranum Num Tadara Tadarare Num Tadare Dillana Nadir Taranum Num Tadara Tadarare Num Tadare Dillana Nadir Tanana tanare num tanare dillana nadir tanana num nadir tanana num nadir tanana num I could go on, but I would like to pause. Invite any questions if you have any. You can, or I can just mix after the show, whatever.
No, I think what's happening is I guess people get hungry also. So might be some people can start eating and others can do so. That would be, if you don't mind, I think that would be.
You can.
So depends on you in terms of.
Yeah, so I'll spend 5 more minutes,
sure,
and then we can break.
And the flute, you also have the flute.
Yeah, I should introduce my other accompanist of the day. The flute, as you know, is the oldest instrument ever, right? At least from archaeological evidence, there have been flutes in the caves everywhere. This also is basis for origin stories of music. And by and large, the Indian flute has remained the same for ever. It's got a simple mouthpiece and 6 holes for each of my fingers. So what I thought I would do, and I play the flute in the Hindustani tradition, so it gives me a chance to do some cross-genre exploration. And I thought I would also pull in a little jazz influence because on some nights I play a jazz set with my saxophone. So over time I allowed myself to be influenced. And the influences have also entered my Carnatic practice, which for some is disturbing. For me personally, I love what's happening here because it gives me also an opportunity to create new things. Novel ideas come from a confluence of the old and the other. Here, I want to try and merge or fuse a few ragas and kind of present them to you as a whole. I've named that raga as simply Pani. Pani means dew in Tamil. Because this is inspired by a composition of Errol Garner's called Mystic. It's a jazz time. I was pricing the ragas that lie hidden in this composition, Mystic. I identified them, I analyzed them, I distilled them, named them, and then I synthesized them again, and I found that they don't quite sound anything like the constituent ragas. They just have their own. This has its own identity, so it's called Pani. Pani is a note. Ga Pani, Re Ga Pani, Sa Re Ga Pani, Pani Ga Pa Re Ga Sa Re Ga Pani. So I'll leave you with Pani. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Raghavan. I think I know that we can listen a lot more, but I think the buffet calls and everything else is starting up. So thank you very much. I think one more round of applause. Okay, I guess Nikhil, you can start. But if there are people who want to interact with you, I'm sure they can come up and also ask questions and anything else, which, I think there's a lot of basics to the music, and I think a lot of cross things, and I think Raghavan's been in all genres, or many genres, so he would be the right person to ask. So please, either you can be there or come and join us.
Say hi to